Okay, so has the Jets thing happened yet, or is he
No,
still toying with
still has
us?
not happened.
My
A
God,
lot of smoke, no fire yet.
I don't understand his desire to keep everyone in the dark, even
I
though that's what he clearly learned from this darkness retreat.
That's what he learned. It's all he knows now. He
Yeah,
goes, he
I was
goes.
born in the
You were
darkness.
raised in the darkness. I was born in it.
Let's play this clip of Packers team president Murphy, Mark Murphy, I believe his name is. He in this Rodgers saga where it wasn't necessarily clear how the Packers were going to play it, right? Because I think it was clear to everybody that they want to move on. They're done with the drama. He didn't even play that well last year, and so they want to see what Jordan Love has, especially because he's going to be entering, I think, his fourth year. They have to pick up his fifth year option by May. That's the deadline. And Rodgers has essentially been very quietly shown the door. But this clip, which was from last week, was interesting to me because there wasn't much movement on the Jets front with the trade. I think the Packers were getting antsy, like, we don't want this guy on our team anymore. He's bringing way too much drama. His cap hit is massive, which good for Rodgers. He negotiated this insane contract extension where he holds all the cards. And so they essentially just stopped tiptoeing around Rodgers. Here he is, Mark Murphy coming out and saying it, speaking about Rodgers in the past tense last week.
Yeah, I think, I can't get into all the details, but, it's a situation where I think we wanted to help Aaron achieve what he wanted as well as the Packers and hopefully, create a situation where it's kind of a win for both sides.
At this point, is it entirely up to Aaron Rodgers on what he wants to do? And then what has the communication been like the last few days and the last few weeks?
Yeah, we're still in discussions. I can't really get into a lot of the specifics.
Just 15 years ago, this Packers organization has been through something very similar with Brett Favre, even with the Jets involved in all of that. How strange has that been? And then what has this organization learned from 15 years ago now using in this year?
Yeah, well, obviously we're very fortunate to have back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And yeah, it was very early in my tenure, so I remember it very well with Brett's situation. And, it's kind of the happens in our game. Very few players play for only one team. And, obviously Brett had a great career, Aaron had a great career here, and regardless of what happens, Aaron will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he'll be in our Hall of Fame, and we'll bring him back, he'll retire his number. But this is just one of the things that you go through as a team. And, again, we want to try to achieve something that's good for both Aaron and us.
Do you think that all of this will be resolved in the next few days? Of course, that March 15th New Year deadline is what everyone has in their back of their mind.
Yeah, I think ideally for everybody would be to have this resolved before the start of free agency in March 15th.
Does this Packers organization believe that Jordan Love could be the face of the franchise, the future, the starting QB for this team?
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in him. I think, we drafted him and developed him. A lot of credit goes to our coaches, and to Jordan. But we do think he's ready.
Thank you so much.
So that's really interesting to me, right? Again, we're still waiting. We have that Ringer video too, right? This is the epitome of what Rodgers is doing right now. But that was a very subtle move to publicly say that to a reporter that, that's not Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter. It was just a quiet, decision to speak to the media very subtly about Aaron Rodgers in the past tense. He'll be back. We'll retire his jersey. The reality is that the Packers have no leverage in this situation. They have none, except if they, want to leverage the fans and the way the fans feel about the team, and the fans feel about Aaron Rodgers. Because that's the one thing about Aaron Rodgers. He loves all the attention, right? He loves to take his time and manipulate public opinion, and I think he gets a kick out of it. but he doesn't want to piss off the Packers fans. I do believe that. And I think that was Mark Murphy trying to say very subtly that this is the Packers' official position. We're trying to move on to Jordan Love. And if this doesn't happen, and if Aaron Rodgers' massive cap number is still on the books, that's on him. Because this almost happened last year to Denver with Nathaniel Hackett. Rodgers backed out at the last minute, and they got Russell Wilson. And that didn't work out that great. But like that was the whole reason behind the Nathaniel Hackett hire, who's now with the Jets. So is this going to be another situation where a team sets the table for a guy who ends up having cold feet, and does he want to retire? I don't know. I mean, we're in the middle of a wait and see period right now. And that March 15th date on Wednesday is the new league year, but the free agency's basically already started. The Ringer had this funny meme of from The Office saying that this is exactly what Aaron Rodgers is doing in free agency.
Let me see. What do I want? What do I want? I'm looking for someone who everyone is listening to me.
That's basically it. That's really it. I mean, and so Bradley, I turn to you with all of that prelude as a Jets fan, who is probably refreshing Twitter every 2 seconds that you possibly can. What does it feel like to have this mercurial kind of, mercurial is the only word for it, diva-ish man holding your franchise hostage? And I will say this, I think, before I saw Patrick Mahomes play, I thought Aaron Rodgers was the most talented quarterback to ever play the sport.
Well, it's slightly cut off in the broadcast, but in the video, the last image of Rainn Wilson's face just going is the Jets, which I agree with in terms of the sentiment is just like,
yeah.
What are we doing here? And I don't even mean it in like a derisive way, in the sense that I don't think it's like, well, I'm conflicted. I think in a very short-term way, it could be impactful for the team to have a clear upgrade, even at turning 40 this year, 2022-23 season notwithstanding Aaron Rodgers. I still think that there's a possibility that he could really raise the ceiling on a team that I think was really pretty set up in a lot of different capacities, in terms of the roster. Like
on paper,
in the sense like there's no telling whether immediately Aaron Rodgers entering that system means that the team will be catapulted to an 11-6, 12-5 season, or whatever the case may be. With all that being said, from a process standpoint, I don't think it's that smart, because I don't know how much I want to pay 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, nor do I know how long he'll play or what kind of guarantees he will ask for in terms of length and money in his contract, and how much of that would be guaranteed.
The Packers don't have any leverage to ask for anything meaningful in the trade. It's something respectable they'll ask for, right?
Right.
And Rodgers may actually, from an ego perspective, not want to be like traded for a second-round pick or something. He might be like, hey, I'm worth a first or something. But you're also trading for that massive contract and the headache that comes with Aaron Rodgers.
And I think that's part of it too, is taking on the remainder of the contract, the age, and also just like his nature in New York, in the New York media atmosphere.
That's not a false narrative that the New York media atmosphere is more intense. We live in it, right? And
he's petulant and kind of
petulant's another good word.
He's petulant and kind of pissy and annoyed generally in like the Pat McAfee echo chamber that he lives in, to say nothing of like the Green Bay regional media that gets to talk to him every once in a while. He's gonna have like New York Post reporters annoying him, and making like crass and punny headlines about him. Like it's not going to be irritating for him, especially knowing who he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you could draw some parallels to how Kyrie Irving was dealing with the New York media, and that's the Brooklyn Nets media. That's not the New York Jets media, right? So I would be a little bit worried about the headlines, but at the same time, the upside is tremendous. I understand why the Jets brass is going out there and kissing his ring, his singular ring, but God, I mean, I would never make that joke in the past, but he's annoying me right now, so I'm making that joke. But yeah, I mean, what's the Jets' plan B if this falls through?
Well, that's the other thing is now they're in a position where, in terms of like a big swing, this is the only one to take. Derek Carr is in New Orleans. Jimmy Garoppolo just signed with Las Vegas, and is going to the Raiders to reunite with Josh McDaniels. Their higher end backup, the 3 to 5 game savior of their team of the last 2 seasons, Mike White, is now backing up Tua in Miami. There aren't that many more options.
Yeah.
Unless
Baker Mayfield.
I've been
also someone who might be difficult in the New York media market. Are they going to do the Lamar Jackson thing? I don't think so.
I've had Jacoby Brissett stock for quite some time, and I wish. And unfortunately, I think that they're a little bit too headline minded and too myopic to even consider that as an option, which I think would be honestly a pretty good option given the who would be around him. But I think this kind of has to work for the front office and the coaching staff, given everything that's all the smoke around it. And if it doesn't, I think there are going to be many tough questions to be asked as to what exactly will the quarterback situation be going into next season, especially as we've talked about at length many times. Everything that happened with Zach Wilson on and off the field. Like, what does it look like? What does that relationship look like? Is there any consideration that he would actually play? Like, I have no idea.
Zach Wilson has said that, well, in terms of Rodgers coming there, I think that might be the one person that Zach Wilson would sit back and respect because that's his childhood hero. And you can see that in the way he plays, right?
Right. And that I guess makes sense, right? It's not, you're making a call for a legend, not like another similar tier, younger player that's going to be more of like a kind of manufactured QB competition from the outset. Like, for example, if it's Mayfield, if it were to be Baker instead of Rodgers after all of this pans out, the Baker Zach Wilson QB competition in training camp headlines will be endless regardless of what happens.
Oh my God.
And that is probably
that's the entitled white boy competition at quarterback.
And honestly, I hate to even wish this into existence, but because I'm a Jets fan and Occam's razor is usually sharp and correct, it's probably going to happen.